Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Don't know which language to pick up on and try. It's Sunday afternoon. There's still a goodly amount of sun coming in. I like my eastern window. It's been a busy weekend. Saturday started out early. Yes, the planes are going over. Must be heavy cargo day. Um, Early Saturday morning. Yes, I had to go buy my cigarettes. Um, I could tell by the look on my young tobaccist face. Usually we speak and joke in French, but he was speaking proper English, and so did I. He understood my doubling my order, not wanting to get out much. In fact, in my neighborhood, being very racial diversified, there are people that are immigrants from Haiti, from Latin American countries. Not for certain, but maybe even from Africa. But anyway, we finished our transaction. I heard the door open, and a lovely voice said, "Good morning, sister." And I turned around, and there's two of the most beautiful women I've seen with some of the most beautiful hair and outfits that, yes, I have been known to wear a long time ago. And heels, legs that went on forever. It doesn't matter. Who am I to make a judgment? But we had a nice little conversation. I said, yes, there was a time I used to be able to wear an outfit like that and those heels, and I'm jealous of you. Well, their protector came in. Conversation stopped, but the gentleman did hold the door open for me, and we exchanged politenesses. But I came home, and my friend Ben said, yes, he was available to go do the big shop. So I geared myself up for that. Went to the K store and basically did the replenishment of the pantry, with the addition of, you wouldn't believe their price on dark natural maple syrup. $16 for, is it a 2-quart bottle? I like my flavors. And I couldn't find the same port that I'd gotten before on a big shop. Not drinking it all. I enjoy it with pork. And I will also have, seriously, a small tibble of it. Small tibble can warm your insides. So I had to go to a more conservative Taylor port. I can't find a tawny port here for not lovely money. That's my preference, because it's aged out a bit. Takes the sharpness off of it. Well, as we were checking out, a wonderful cashier, and she said, thank you, Mary Clarice. I said, no, I'm Sister Estelle Irene Kinkade-Wilson, not Sister Mary Clarice or Clarence. Benton had to explain to me, because I mentioned that there were so many people getting me confused with this other nun. Whoopi Goldberg from Sister Act. I don't care whether it's a slight. I'll take it as a compliment. If I could get some Anglican butts to move with their songs. Oh, but I fixed Rocco and I a nice meal last night. And I fixed us a nice daily meal today. I usually when I cook my large amounts of chicken, except for this time I decided to do it poulet confit, packing the pot with chicken in a small amount of water. Absolutely beautiful meat. It doesn't, they're thoroughly cooked, and the meat still has color. And I noticed there wasn't much fat missing. So anyway, I'd already put those portioned out in the freezer and pulled out the pot while I was making her meal. I thought I'd have to, do the separation. There was just the tiniest amount of fat on top. The rest of it was all chicken aspic. So today's daily meal was jasmine rice with chopped broccoli cooked in chicken aspic. Added a can of condensed cream of chicken, 3 tablespoons of butter, and a sprinkling of cheese for Rocco. Quite nice. But I was a little shocked at the difference between previously doing it in batches and then doing it all as one batch. We'll see. If I like the confit product better, that is what I'll do. I've got enough chicken fat in the freezer. And then my friend Ben, he helped me put my 3 remaining roses in tires. And my placement of the tires on the south side in sacred geometry, 2 of them are equally spaced beneath the window, which makes a equilateral triangle. And then if you look down the row all the way to the front to the horse chestnut tree is a line. Now, the sacred geometry and Mama Smarts, I will find some long pieces of old barnwood and have them screwed into the tires, and it will be one long flower bed. So you will have Miss Chase, a red rose, Rugosa floribunda, then the yellow Rugosa floribunda, a coral Rugosa floribunda, and then a red Rugosa floribunda. And with a board attaching across that way, having an end and brought back to the steps, and at the other end an end, that will be a flower bed. That the iris, which too much shade from Haggai, the iris will be moved. They're very beautiful. The yellow iris put out a 30-inch tall bloom stalk, and they're supposed to be repeat bloomers, but in Haggai's shade they've only grown larger tubers. There were a few blooms, and that's okay. They've done a good job growing. So those will be placed between in an isosceles triangle underneath the window. Yeah, sometimes geometry. I didn't like it in school, but I'm using it in sacred geometry in the garden planting. And there will be room for other perennials outside of, sunflowers and hemp and some marigolds and some morning glories and some moonflowers. I like something that once it's planted, you don't have to worry about it. It continues. It's not lazy gardening, it's smart gardening for an old abroad. And then the bed that was for the iris, which is mostly, I need to re-enrich it with some manure. But it's what? 5 bales of peat moss and 3 bales of decomposed. Well, anyway, Kelmer. And I think it'll be a vegetable patch. And the 3 tires that are on either side of the outside with barn boards attached, so you don't see the tires, can be planted in veg. Saw a beautiful, it was a purple with aqua highlights in front of the Columbia Club. Well, plants can't help who plants them. And I couldn't tell whether it was a cabbage or a kale because it had cabbage leaves. It's like, oh, these would be beautiful. So I talked over with Ben about planting a purple vegetable garden. Oh, the rumors will still keep going, and I love it. So that was a blessing. And then guess what? I was worried about having to get out and water in the roses. The grader said, you rest, Estelle. I got it covered. It was a nice rain. So they've all been watered in. And they all, since being put in, the leaves are green. Well, here's to that. And tomorrow I'll go out to the pears. I got a bale of straw for their area and the pawpaws. And I have some composed dried blood. If I got 3 bags of cow manure, I might go over to Home Depot and get 3 of those. Well, 4. 1 bag per each pear tree, and 1 to split between the pawpaws, because it is nitrogen, phosphorus, and the other P I can't remember. It'll come to me in the middle of the talk about the sermon. Potassium. There we go. Some had a few heart attacks. And then cover them all with a double bale. It's a compact bale of straw. And there's a compact bale for the back of Rocco's room, of which there are some apple trees growing up in his room from when we've shared apples, and you got a couple of seeds and shake them out and they're growing up. I guess I'll call them shite apples. Or Friar Rocco's orchard. And then, well, except for the 250 bulbs that need to be plunked into the ground. Oh, and there's the 3 grapevines and the hopeful blueberry bush. You sort of get, If I buy a plant in distress, I try to give it what it needs. And if it wants to grow, it grows. If it doesn't want to grow, it doesn't have to. So, Saturday was a busy day. But I knew I needed to go to Mass today. Number one, to be present, not to be hidden away. Number two, my reverends need a little support also. Just imagine you're standing up to deliver a sermon or a message, and you're on the list of the elect, not the good list. And I am, and I could feel it walking in to a congregation that have a carryover of the election with them that they're proud of. When people look me in the eye but they can't speak, or they can't look me in the eye, you might as well use your voice and say what you got to say. It's going to be a strange time. There was a palliative discourse spirit. I did stay a bit for coffee afterwards. And at our table was a person from my community, a person from another diversity community, and 3 other persons. Luckily, the tables divided themselves up by their own party affiliations. Church and state, state and church. Well, we're all human, and we can't always separate ourselves. I try my best. I will honestly be polite. Well, after I left coffee hour, heard a group of young gentlemen behind me. I have excellent rear end hearing. And they were speaking German. And from what I understood, they were talking about the Muslim woman in front of them. Well, I knew who they were talking about. And they went around me, and they were holding up one of their friends that was a little more than tipsy. And one of the young gentlemen looked back, and they said, "Guten Tag." He said, "Guten Tag, Dame." And they quickly went away going, "Oh, shite, she knew what we were saying." Stopped and talked with a homeless man. We had a little discussion about people who are not handicapped using handicapped parking spots, because Mama had to park a distance away from church today. But I knew I needed to be there. So I could be... If you've ever given public speeches, you pick out eyes in the audience that you can lock onto for comfort or to make it look like you're giving a shit about the people you're talking to. And I'm happy to be a safe place for eyes to land. Bless the reverends. The Episcopal Church has always been unique outside of all the Reformations. I know that during the Civil War, Christ Church Cathedral would not ring their bells for victories, northern or southern, remaining neutral. Okay. That was a good thing. A little bit of history. The Anglo-Episcopalian Church was really big in the South. I mean, super big. Some were abolitionist. Some of the wealthier churches had slave owners. I guess the Episcopal Church will always be a church of some discourse. They're working on acceptance in the face of the government. It sort of reminds me of the same kind of situation. You know, some for slavery, some abolitionists, all in the same church. I'm creating beautiful clouds. But anyway, I went around the block and I got into Maggie, my lovely red beater. And, fastening my seatbelt and everything. Waiting for the traffic to go by so I could get into get into my lane. And I'm watching this young man. I think the Holy Comfort puts people in front of me to be there for. I don't know. He had a black umbrella, a long jacket, a lovely little frill of skirt underneath, pants and tennis shoes, and it appeared that his umbrella was his friend. Almost reminded me of Singing in the Rain. So I just sat there and lit myself a cigarette and watched him enjoying being with his friend, the umbrella. I was like, there's a story here. Maybe it's not for me to understand, but it was important that I would see. My gathering is that he may have some situations. I know the weather's going to change. I don't know if he'll have protection or whatever. But he'll have his friend, the umbrella. That's more than some people have. They'd rather stand still with their looking up in the sky and their mouth open while it's raining shite. And you know who you are. I still keep finding myself, hey Rocco, I still find myself, because of studying history, the way things are now in comparison to the 1930s, and that progression. I'm guessing if Project 2025 is going to be put into full force. It will be at the end of the first year, beginning of the second. And boy, are some people going to be surprised at the loss of workforce. There's going to be an intelligence drain. Maybe I'll have to teach some good old boys how to change a tire and put in a spark plug. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, blessings to everyone I came in contact with today, whether you want it or not. So, blessed be, blessings, be kind to yourself. Try to be kind to others. It's going to stretch our ever-loving nerve. And all of us have a right to peace, hope, comfort, and life. Auf Wiedersehen, mein Liebchens. Guten Tag.